Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be building small GitHub profile search app using only HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I'm not going to use any third-party libraries or framework for this. Okay, so here I'm going to use GitHub open source API to get the data. There are some documentation you can go through and how we can use all the informations are available in this document. So if you need more information about this API, you just let me know in the comment section. I will try to reply for this. Okay, first let us see the demo. Okay, before seeing the demo, I'll just keep the developer window open. We'll go to the network tab. So as soon as we type something, it is going to hit GitHub endpoint and then it will get the response based on the keyword that we enter. Okay, I'm going to type my profile name. Now you can see there is a API call. On clicking on the network request, you can see the response for the keyword, right? So this is the data that we got from the response. Now, so after getting this response using JavaScript, I have converted that JSON into the HTML structure. So like this, right? The response that we got is a JSON type, and then finally I am converting that response into a HTML view so that the end user can see the data clearly, right? Now you can see list of profiles that are listed based on the response, and then clicking on view more button, you can see more detail about the profile. So all these informations are there in that API, initial API call itself. On the home screen, I'm just displaying very few information. On clicking on this button, I'm displaying some more information about the profile here. Okay, so here you can see username, ID, and then profile link. On clicking on this link, it will redirect you to the GitHub profile page. So this is what that I have built already. Now I'll be writing a code from scratch how we can build these feature using only HTML and CSS and JavaScript, right? Okay, so now multiple things you can look at that. So when there is no data, there will be some message, and when there is no data, so when you are type something, so if that keyword is not matching with any profile, it is going to return some empty array. So for that, we need to display some appropriate message to the user, right? So I'll just go to the network tab and then I'll show you. I am just typing the random name. So here you can see network request and the response. So we didn't get any data, but we should make sure we are displaying the correct information to the user, right? So these are the scenarios that we need to handle when we are building an app like this, right? So there are multiple use cases that we'll be covering next. So when I delete this, now you can see that a message got overwritten by the new error message, right? So this is how that we need to handle. So when there is some data, so this message will not be displaying. So when I type something before getting the data, so there is a state called loading, right? So that you can see cooking in after requesting the server and before getting the data in between time, so we need to display proper message. So that also I have handled here, so I'll be explaining how we can handle that as well. So first let's start from the scratch. Open the VS Code. Okay, first we'll create a folder. Let's create a folder called search app. Okay, here I'm going to create a new HTML file. Create HTML index.html. Once I created, I'm just going to change the file type here so that when we type something, the syntax will be loaded automatically. Okay, now I'll just type HTML colon 5. So this will create the basic skeleton. I'm going to give a title search app. Let's save it. Okay, let's give h1 GitHub search. Okay, let's run it. Now we can see the basic skeleton that we created. It is displaying, right? First, what we need to do, so we need to create we'll just put exact name, whatever here. And then there is one input box. Type input type equal to text, all small. And then some class name for that. We can give anything, whatever. So I can give input search something, and then what else? So there is one label here, right? So this can be created dynamically. Let's see first. Well, You can keep anything, paragraph, label, anything. Okay, type some username. Give type some username. Now we can see the title and then one input box and then one paragraph text here down there. First, let's apply some CSS. Section class. We can give anything. Okay, so and then we'll create one separate CSS file to put all our CSS in that. Okay, I'll name it style.css. First, we need to reset margin and padding. Ting 0. Okay, so after that we need to put box sizing, border box. Let's close. Now you can see this external styles, it has been loaded and the styles are applying, right? Okay, first and then we'll make it center aligned. Okay, first take this wrapper class, add some CSS, margin. To make it center, we just need to add margin auto, margin left and right auto, 0 auto, 0 auto. And then we need to set a specific width, max width 900 pixel. Now it is centeredly aligned. We need to add some style so that we will have space between these elements and then we'll increase the width of this input box. Okay, now and then we just need to add some style for these element. Okay, now let's finish this input box. Border we need to change 1 pixel solid DDD. Then width can be 100%. And then padding, I'll just give 10 pixel. Now we can see. Okay, so now we need to give a space between these elements, right? So to give a space, we need to use a margin. So if I give margin for this center element, top and bottom, 15 pixel 0. So now you can see there is a 15 pixel at the top and the bottom as well, right? Okay, so now you can see the search box is ready. It is clear, right? It looks like this. So we can increase the border size if we want, and then if we want some border radius, nice border radius, 4 pixel. Okay, so now you can see the border radius applied here. Okay, so now what we need to do, so as soon as we type something, we need to hit a API and get the response, right? Okay, so that I'll come to that later. First, we'll finish all this first. First, we'll create this pop-up and then this UI, and then we'll go to the functionality. First, let us complete the UI part so that when I implement with actual data, it will be very easy to understand how this pop-up has been created with a simple step. Okay. Okay, so here you can see there is a button. We just need to will apply some CSS for this as well. Padding 15 pixel. Then we'll change the text color. Okay, now we can see, and then to remove this outline, we need to add border none. You can see that now we can see it as clearly. Okay, let's open up. Make cursor pointer so that when we mouse over on this button, the hand cursor will come. Right. So I'm going to click on this. After clicking this, it will going to open a pop-up window. Okay, so first let's write some JavaScript code ourselves. We'll create a new file called script.js. I'm going to load that in our page. Okay, script soc script.js script. Okay, ordered. We'll test it. Ready. Ready. Okay, so now we can see this file also working fine as expected. Okay, so now let's write some JavaScript code. What I'm going to do, when I'm clicking on this button, particular button, okay, I'll just keep ID model, open model. We need to get document dot get element by ID using this const model window element. Okay, so what I did, I just created a new variable and then stored this button element reference, right? So when we click on this particular button, click equal to, let's see whether it is working or not. Test. No, it doesn't work. Let's see. Okay, it is not a click. We just need to change it to on click. Now it is working fine as expected. Next, we need to create a model window. For that, two things that we need to do. Div class. We can use anything. It can be section, any layout element we can use. Okay, so I'm going to use section tag and then add some class for that model window. Okay, so now we need to understand position, right? So let's say I'm putting some information inside this model window. Title, right? Okay. Now you can see it is displaying as a normal text, right? So there is no different, and we can't differentiate between model window or normal text, right? So to change the look and feel of this view, what we need to do, so we need to change the position first. We need to intimate, we need to apply some CSS so that it will look like a model window. Okay, first we need to apply position fixed. Oh, yes, I position fixed, and then there should be some min and max width we can apply. Pixel, I'll just put the same for height as well. Just give background. Okay, so now you can see I have applied some minimum height, minimum height, minimum width, and then some background, right? So by default, it has to be display none, right? So when we click on this button, it is going to display over here, right? So let's create something. So let's add some CSS. Sketch O display block. Okay, so what this class is going to do now? Okay, so when I add something into this particular wrapper, in this case, I'll just add and show you SHO. So if I add a class to this particular section element, it will display. So I'm going to change it dynamically so that it will be visible and disable based on the that CSS class, right? If this particular class is added, then it will be enabled. When it is removed, it will be hidden. So simple. So this is what we are going to do with the JavaScript. So this also we can add some ID, or else we can use class to get this element. Now I'm using ID to get this. Model window element. I'll just rename it to model window element. So when we click on this button, we are going to add something to this list. Class list dot add sho. That's it. We'll just see. That's it. Okay. So on clicking on this button, now you can see there is a class called so. Okay. If it is already there, then we need to remove, right? So it is kind of toggle that we are going to do. Okay. Okay, so on clicking on something, we need to hide this, right? So for that, I'll just add one more method here. Same thing, I'll just copy paste down. Model window, close button element. Okay. Instead of add, we need to call remove method. Okay, close model. I'll just copy paste the same button down so that it will reduce the time. Okay, just make sure close. That's it. So it is very, very simple, right? So now if you see, we are just enabling, disabling one element dynamically, right? So this doesn't look like a model window, right? So how do we make sure that look and feel will be a model window? Okay, first let's add some more CSS to get that view. So I'll add one more element here. Div, it can be a div or section, anything. I'll just keep a section. I'll add one more called backdrop, so that when we click on something, so this will look like a shadow between front and back layer. So for that we need to apply position fixed. I hope you must be aware of a CSS position. So if not, I'll be explaining in a different video. So we'll add some background. RGPA 0.5. So it is nothing but a 0 black and then alpha opacity 0.5. So we need to make sure. So this backdrop will be covered the entire viewport, right? So with 100 percentage height, 100 percentage, we can just give viewport height also, and then we need to make sure it is aligned top left corner, top 0, left 0. So now this backdrop layer is visible. So first we need to make sure this also will be visible only when we click on this open model button, right? And then this would go away when we close the model window, right? So first on load it should be disabled. So let's add display none. Okay, it is not visible now. So we need to add and enable when this button is clicked, right? So we need to make sure we are adding same class to this element as well, right? So that it will be sync with the model window. Okay, so let's go to the backdrop, and here I'm going to add ID again. Model window backdrop BD element. So now you can see I'm just fetching the element and then On clicking on the model window open button, it is going to add a show class to this element as well. And then when we click on close button, it is going to remove the show class from both elements, right? Let's see the demo. Now you can see the look and feel of this model window. So this is what we expected, right? When we click on this, it is going to display, and when we close it, it is going to remove the class from this. So this is the simple example that how we can use this. And then one more thing. So we have a model window, but it is not centrally aligned. How do we make sure that it is aligned centrally for this entire viewport, right? Okay, how do we do that? We just need to change some CSS. Okay, so top 50 percentage. This is one of the way, and there are a lot of ways we can make it a center. I'm just going to follow only one way now. 50 percentage. So now you can see top 50 percentage, left to 50%, right? And then there is one more attribute called transform. Translate X and Y axis. We need to make sure minus 50 percentage so that it will be centrally aligned. So now you can see it is centrally aligned. So this is how we need to create a simple model window using pure JavaScript and CSS. And also we can animate adding some more CSS. So that I'm not going to cover now.